Welcome to the Center of Light, the Great Reset. God's Great Reset. It's time. It's happening. We need it. We need to breathe. We need to relax. Hello, 2021. Tonight is Center of Light. Push the button. Please, dear Lord, push the button already, will you? Push it yesterday. The Great Reset. God's Great Reset. There is a current terminology called the Great Reset, which is the fixing of the financial system. I'll read it right now. The Great Reset is a proposal by the World Economic Forum. Money is not what it used to be, nor will it ever come back to be that. But now we're talking about internal abundance. The Great Reset is a proposal by the World Economic Forum to rebuild the economy sustainably following the COVID-19 pandemic. It was unveiled in May 2020 by the United Kingdom's Prince Charles and WEF Director Klaus from the Scorpions. No, Klaus Schwab from the Scorpions. But tonight we're going to be speaking about God's Great Reset. And this new teacher, wow. I want to look at his name. I want to pronounce it right. It's deserving of it. Shunyamurti. Shunyamurti. It's a hard T, not Murti, but T. Shunyamurti. I'm going to play a video here in just a little bit of one of his darshans, which means blessing. And when you watch, experience this light, you will see it. If you look with this, look right here, but use this. In the empty space, you will see a gold, soft, warm light. He doesn't stammer. He doesn't stutter. He's not at a loss for words. He sounds like music. And he's going to lay out this great God reset. 2,000 plus years ago, Jesus Christ was God's great reset. Chaos to the infinite degree. It enters a master and it says, reset. I got you covered. This is now a reset of the global brain, rather global mind, of the egoic projection and the detriments that it has, and the suffering, and the selfishness, and the greed, and the control. It all comes from within. Shunyamurti will share it with you very effortlessly. I needed him to show up in my experience. It connects me to other no longer puzzle, pieces of things I needed to hear. He reminds me of that. And I think he's going to do that for you. So tonight is Center of Light. Push the button already, please. God's Great Reset. 2,000 plus years ago, Jesus was a great reset. Jesus Christ, the Christ principle was a great reset. Today, 2,000 years-ish later, the same thing is happening again. Though Jesus is present on the planet, the personality, Christ is always present on the planet. The great reset now is Christ consciousness. Time to go through another cyclical level up. We are leveling up. We are doing it. This is why I say, don't get attached to the political. There's a story being told. So when we watch the movie, we can watch the great work of the Oscar award-winning actors. Everyone else that is just playing the role. But you, my friend, can sit in the audience or the theater and go, man, what a freaking good movie this is. That way, you can walk out of the theater and go, wow, what a great exhibition of talent. But if you get caught in the movie, it won't be so groovy. Because in the movie, the villains and heroes die. And if you involve yourself in the movie like those villains and those heroes, consciously, you will die. Doesn't everyone want eternal life? Go watch the movie. Don't be in it. The Great Reset. Wow. It's powerful. It's magical. It's beyond anything we can possibly understand. In fact, it surpasses all understanding. And that's the point of it all. It's supposed to. If it didn't, everything would be normal. We're tired of normal. Normal is old hat. Normal is dead. That's part of the dead world. Many people, ironically, are hanging on for dear life to a world that's already dead. It's not coming back. My condolences. This is where we are. And you are the rock star. We are the rock stars. Provided and protected we will be when we step back. Play in the arena, enough to get you jollies. But don't wally around too long in the mud, because you will get dirty. Either way, Spirit will come with a divine spigot and wash you off. But you want to be cleaned consciously. Unconsciously is no fun. Consciousness brings bliss. Unconsciousness always brings trouble. Always. The Great Reset. God's Great Reset. Jesus Christ was one of the great resets. The Christ principle now returning through the illumined souls of those who choose it. The chosen. Who is the chosen? Who are the chosen? Those who choose to hear the call. You are the button itself, and your button is being depressed. That is the correct word, not pressed. Your button is being depressed. You are the Great Reset. You can bet it's you. Are you firing up and firing off? It's you. And it's happening. Take a short pause, going to be right back. And then we're going to go into the presentation of Sri Shanyam Murthy. He's going to put it in such a poetic, when he talks, he sounds like he's singing. Not only will you hear his beautiful melody, but you also will hear his harmony. He doesn't stammer, he doesn't stutter. You will see the glow all over him. He's not in a hurry. He's in the fire. Truly in the fire. This is what it will look like to anyone when God truly moves through a clear, pure, peaceful vessel. Bold statement in it. You will see. Tomorrow night's presentation is going to be, do I have a title for it yet? Something about heaven on earth kind of idea. With the same teacher. I heard this today. I'll go probably. One of the absolute most amazing discourses, presentations I've ever heard in my life. I was like, wow. Boom. Wow. That's going to be tomorrow night. So, how about some of this right here?
Trust that I will guide you in whatever you do. Just remember to breathe and do your very best to live in love, give in love, be in love, and love you shall receive.
What I want to be and see, what I want to see and want, knowing God is by my side. There is nothing I need to know. Told me every day to breathe and expand myself, to know there is no one else but me and God who's in my heart.
Keep moving forward. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New You. Katie Camara says, oh my God, the piano piece in that song, I'm in Love. That is Mr. Angelo Rapin, pianist for Lavender Soul, world-renowned classical pianist. This happened the first take. This just came out of him, and I was like, he goes, you want me to do it again? And I said, why? Tonight is the Great Reset, God's Great Reset. You are the button, and your button is being pushed. This came across my feed today. Sometimes we see these Facebook feeds, and they have some cutesy words, and we can make them fit, and it seems a little shallow, but it's cool because it's a meme. This one does have that on the surface, but there's truly some wisdom inherent in it. Listen to this. God's Great Reset. Everybody better open their eyes and realize what's really going on. In 3 short months, just like he did with the plagues in Egypt, God has taken away everything we worship. God said, you want to worship athletes? I will shut the stadiums down. You want to worship musicians? I will shut down the civic centers. You want to worship actors? I will shut down the theaters. You want to worship money? The Great Reset, not the God's Great Reset, but the Great Reset. I will shut down the economy and collapse the stock market. You don't want to go to church and worship me or live in the spirit naturally, if you will. I will make it to where you can't go to church. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn away from their wicked ways, that's all of us. That which is unconscious that we do is not divine, because divinity is conscious, so it has to be wicked. Then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Maybe we need to take this time of isolation from the distractions of the world and have personal revival. We're locked in. We're not locked down. We're locked in. Personal revival, where we focus on the only thing that this world has that could ever matter. I think everyone would agree to that. What's up, Joe? Kelly? All right, now we're going to get down to Sri Shamyamurti Discourse. It's about 20 minutes long, 17 minutes long. He's going to explain in a way that I definitely couldn't, in his beautiful, sovereign, divine way, what this is, why this is, the purpose of it, the reason for it, and where it's going. He's not going to hiccup, he's not going to stammer, nor is he going to stutter, nor is he trying to sell you anything. He's trying to share with you his illumined soul. I meant illumined, literally. When he speaks, it sounds like a song. Do you feel like dancing? You make me feel like dancing, dance night away. He's gonna do that. Get up and dance. Celebrate your beautiful life. See you shortly.
We are living in an extraordinary historic moment. That's not a surprise to anyone. And in this historic moment, because of its nature, meditation is more relevant to more people than probably at any other time in history. We could probably say it's no longer a luxury, but a necessity for many who are suffering from the loss of freedom that is being experienced throughout the world by the anxiety, the fear, the paranoia that is being provoked, the uncertainty at all levels of biological life, social life, political life, financial life, existence itself. Everything is in the balance. in a time in which no future can be planned, nothing is known. We are in that moment of the indeterminacy that cannot be decided by the ego. The ego has lost its effectiveness, its usefulness as an organ of consciousness. And we require a transcendence to a higher level of intelligence, a higher level of our being that is fearless and that is clear and that is able to navigate this new world that is a dying world and see what is being born and perceive the blessings and perceive the ways to be a giver of blessings in this time of darkness for many. But what is dystopia to the ego may well be utopia for the real self. And so it is this shift of our own paradigm that meditation will bring to us if we are willing to go beyond the ego, to return to the self, to be who we really are, and to abide as that in such a way that our physical and cognitive and emotional capacities become able to serve as a channel for the flow of Shakti, of wisdom, of light, of healing love and compassion. And of that vibrational frequency that can shift a soul out of the illusion that there is a world and to see the truth that there is only consciousness. This is what the perennial philosophy has always taught, the great tradition, the esoteric level of all the religions and spiritual traditions, that there is only one self, one intelligence, one supreme actor, and that all that seems to appear is simply a dream within that consciousness, a simulation of reality, but not real. The world is God inside out. And when we are no longer inside out, when we have gone within and brought that within into the outer, when we have united the inner and the outer, when we have recognized the consciousness that can be a collapsed quantum wave that seems like a world of fixed forms and identities and limited potentialities and contractions of fear and desire and of lostness and confusion. When we can turn that inside out, when we can reveal the light and the love and the joy and the perfection of the poetry of God's heart and mind that are bringing the world to a beautiful conclusion, a beautiful consummation of all possibilities, to allow a world of suffering to die quickly so that a world of peace and love and joy and beauty, goodness, and miraculousness can be reborn. But in this transition phase, if one is lodged still in the ego, that part of the consciousness identified with the physical body and identified with the mind that is trapped in language, in the flow of thoughts that are embedded in duality and in the belief that the world is real and not a simulation, not a dream in God's mind, that believes that we are in danger, that believes that we are in some kind of dire circumstances, then that mind will create paranoid vibrational frequencies that produce more negative karma, more suffering, more loss of freedom, more loss of the sattvic capacity to penetrate through the apparent to the real, and to enable a fearless encounter with the real, to bring us home to the God self from which we have traveled lifetime after lifetime in order to arrive at this end point, this omega point, foretold by every sage and philosopher since the beginning of this Kali Yuga, but that now is being actualized at a time when, ironically, everyone had lost the religious beliefs that had foretold and prophesied all of this, and lost the understanding or belief in goodness and purity and in the reality of God or the self. Now, at that very moment in which the darkness of the ego's cynicism and denial of love and of light and of the real, now at that moment we are faced with both the whirlwind of the karmic reaping of what has been sowed by the collective ego, and also at the same time the revelation and the rapture, the bliss of the return of God. Because that's what the ending of the world is. It's the return of the realization that there never was a world but only God, who appears as that singularity of light and power and potentiality that can once again redream the world in its most beautiful form before it was degraded by the ego consciousness that brought the world into its current crisis. So this is what has been called Nivritti Marga. There are two margas or pathways in traditional yoga or even in Eastern philosophy in general, the Pravritti Marga and the Nivritti Marga. The Pravritti is the outgoing, when the world is new and young and beautiful and open, and there are always new horizons of possibility. Then one wants to build, one wants to explore the outer, one wants to express one's creativity in the constructions that are possible for the mind and for form itself. But as the world returns, as the circle ends up returning to its omega and alpha point, there is a need to withdraw from the outer, to return to the source from which we have come, and to refresh, to renew, to recharge the batteries that have become exhausted over lifetime after lifetime of proceeding in an externalized manner. But now the world is exhausted. The natural resources are exhausted, the political and social resources, and the world is literally shutting down. And the external possibilities and its horizons that could offer hope and progress and all the dreams that people used to take for granted that they could have fulfilled in life have now become an impossibility. It's very difficult for people who were indoctrinated to think that the world was their oyster and they could make all kinds of money and have everything that they desired if only they played the game properly, etc., and to find out that no, that's no longer the case. The rules have changed. Even in the media, you're now reading always about the new Great Reset, which means the end of the world as we knew it, the end of the conditions in which freedom was taken for granted, or even sanity for that matter. and reliability, consistency of the law, and of the way that people would behave toward one another. And we are now seeing a collective madness ensue, a psychosis that has become collectivized and generalized, and aggressivity and paranoia rising, mounting to their maximum. And so in a time of this kind of very high tension and of terror, of conflict of every kind, and of the incomprehensibility of the ways in which those current authorities are managing this supposed crisis and are turning it into a way of bringing about a totalitarian loss of freedom for everyone. This short circuit of everything we thought was reality and was expected by the human species to be honored brings us back to the core of what we are, when we can no longer depend on the external world for the support that it used to give, when it's now a place of danger, of sickness, and of mob violence, of death. How does one retain one's spirit, one's life, one's light, one's empowerment, one's creative imagination, one's ability to love with an open heart, with innocence, with purity, with goodness? How does one retain one's soul and one's connection to the purity of spirit in a time of such darkness? This is the challenge that yogis face, but at the same time, it is what is motivating people as never before to go inward, because when you're in lockdown, there isn't much else you can do. And so as the external possibilities are minimized, the potentiality for the internalization of consciousness, for the rediscovery of those resources that are supernatural, that are connected to God consciousness and derive their being from our own immortal self, our eternal light, that is now available as never before. And the time to concentrate and to be present to the innermost being is now reaching its maximal. So if we take advantage of what this time is giving us, rather than resisting it and regretting it and feeling the remorse of what is lost, of feeling the potential of what can be gained now by going within, by letting go of all of those desires of the ego and of all of its fear, because it can reach that state of fearless presence when it knows that it is not the body, not the mind, not anything with form that could decompose or be harmed. When you know what you are, then you gain a freedom that cannot be taken away. And you regain a power that is our true inheritance and birthright as manifestations of the one Supreme Self. So in Nivritti Marga, meditation is not an activity that one engages in. It is one's beingness. It's not something you do, it's the realization of what you are that never comes to an end. And it's this kind of meditation that is required now, a meditation that isn't interrupted by a return to the ego mind and its fears and confusions and lostness and its embeddedness in duality. We want to reach that place of the self that does not change, cannot be lost, and that is not dependent on any conditions.
Hello, all you sexy human creatures. Welcome to Center of Light. Right off the get-go, share this to you all. It may reach someone who is reaching for the golden ring just like you. What is the golden ring? It's not what you think. It is what you want. It may come through the guise of what you think it is. Instead of going for the superficial aspect of it, when you move to the deeper layer, that which is meaningful, the real reason, it becomes the season of your harvest. I want you to be a joyful, sexy, beautiful human being. You owe me nothing. Gina says, it's cool, Keith. You demand. We're going to get real. It's yours for the taking. We're all looking for bliss. Burst of light. I'm going to empower you. I'm going to get down to some beeswax, cosmic broham, oink, to say I love you. Flagship Mother Earth, this way. Inward is upward, and that is forward. Powerful. Any thought that you have that is not of the highest ideal contains self-sabotage. Ride, Captain, ride upon your mystery ship. I'm holding on because I'm scared to death of the changes that are happening in the world, the changes that are happening within me, but I'm living in the old world paradigm and I'm going nowhere. I'm bored out of my skull. That's called insanity. I'm already feeling it coming to every fiber of my being, though I have no idea about the future timeline of where this is going because I don't care. I just know that I am living in that joy in this moment, this way. In is the way out, where you are in your being, your experience. If you want joy, ecstasy, and peace beyond you've ever had in your being, because when you're inward, you don't need anything. And therefore, you have everything. Why would you believe anything when you can know everything? So now we went from this very tiny, minute little possibility of self to an explosion of infinite possibility in God. Metaphor for up. We always known God to be up. When we have these connections with spirit, then our life moves forward. He is so illuminedly powerful, soft, graceful, tasteful. Tomorrow night I'm going to be doing a presentation. I don't know the title yet. I love making those banners like this one. I'll spend an hour, hour and a half on it if I have to, until it feels right. That makes the point of, as an umbrella, to encase my presentation. Something like heaven on earth. The gentleman we just watched, I'm going to play a presentation from him, a darshan, like I did a moment ago. This, out of as much as I like him already, love him already, this one so far is like no joke. He is going, there's no way you cannot believe him. He removes any disbelief, any atheism. He just paints it in such a way. And tomorrow night when I play this video, this presentation, this darshan, he lays out the reality for 30 minutes of what heaven on earth, not only what it looks like, but what it actually is, and how it is so easily attainable because you're thinking about it. As he lays it out so clearly. You say to yourself, I simply understand. That is equal to John Lennon's song, Imagine. Imagine there's no heaven, no countries. Imagine all the people. He's already brought you into the game by using the word imagine. He's launching you into a greater playing field by saying, imagine this, y'all. And we start imagining it, and it comes about. This is what this teacher I'm going to play tomorrow night is going to do as well. Yet again. But on a deeper layer, it's going to wow you. The manifestation of heaven on earth. What is required? When he spoke, didn't it sound very musical? It was just so easy to take in. Did you see the glow of light all around him? That is him. That is he, as to why he wants to be in the glow of the light itself. Do you think he makes money doing this? He's expanding into greater possibilities, not doing this, but being this. What is his name? Vicky asked. His name is Shun. I'm gonna write it out for you. You deserve it. Get on YouTube and look up this. Type that in, Vicky. So heaven on earth is obtainable. That's what my presentations are always about. He's going to lay it in and out and down so profound, it's going to become palpable for you. That is the magic. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Yoo-hoo. He's going to lay it out for you. And it's going to be easy for you to taste it. Simply put your hands in the French fry basket and grab a French fry, dip it in some ketchup, and eat it. And it's going to become real for you. It's not out of your grasp. You just didn't know how to grab. He's going to put your hand right on it. Happy New Year to you. You are the reason the physical universe was created. There was no other reason. Well, yet there is no other reason. You are the reason, and in proper season we'll understand that you are that which why the universe was ever created. Because it came from you in the first place. Because you are the creator at your essence. Be looking tomorrow night. I may have to do it Monday. I think I'm going to get my son tomorrow, which he's cool. I can still do it. But either way, my next presentation is going to be this teacher painting the picture that we can all enter into this hologram, this divine reality of heaven on earth. It's such a beautiful idea. A place full of magic, full of power. When we get along and share all of our gifts with everyone, the second, the minute, the hour, things begin to flower in ways the human mind cannot possibly imagine. Imagine that. Imagine all the people. Magic, divine power. You will become heroes, superheroes, dressed in a cape. What is your superhero name? Having superhero magical powers. It's real. We all have it now. We're just not clear enough to seal the deal of what it is we truly want consciously. That's the purpose of purifying oneself into the fire. To become that which is higher, that which is pure. And for sure, we all have a lot of work to do. But it's not work. When you enjoy your expansion, it becomes play. Speaking of play, I will see you soon. I love playing with you. It is my joy. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy 2021.